UK citizens will.
Well, what if I don't?
Will have to have one. Well, the plan is that we're going to roll this out by the end of
No.
Parliament.
My question is, what if I don't? What if I've got my job, so I don't need to show this to anyone? So what if I just don't do it?
So if you don't have one, then you'll have a problem if you want to get a new job.
No, I'm saying I'm not doing that. So I'm not seeking a job. So why should I get the digital ID card? Why do I do it? Well, is there some fine for not doing it? Is there an incentive to do it? I'm just thinking I've got no reason to do it.
Yeah, look, this isn't a heavy-handed approach. We're not planning to go around finding people. But what we are going to do is make sure that everybody's got one. In the same way, Charlie, as you've got a national insurance number, if you're a citizen of this country, we'll make sure that everybody has a digital ID.
So help me with this. I know we're plotting through this, but so everyone watching who's got a job has got a national insurance number. So when these digital ID cards exist, if I just go to my employer and show them my national insurance number, is that not sufficient? Are they being precluded from employing me?
It won't be sufficient. I just want to be really clear about that.
So they can't employ people unless they've seen one of these
a digital ID.
cards.
Yes, that's right. That is the plan.
And we told you niggas. We told you rebellious Israelites about what these devils getting ready to do. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rachah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught me this truth, and much respect to the Akim of the Laban and his work. Peace and salutation to the hopefully elect who was scattered abroad to USA. Shalom. Yeah, so, what else could we have done at Great Millstone? Besides constantly warning you about what these devils are getting ready to do and implement within the earth, as we're seeing the precursor or the pre-stages of the mark of the beast being set in place. All right, the groundwork and the path has been laid out, leading up to this point of mandating the mark of the beast. So as you see here from BBC News, Starmer says people will not be able to work in the UK without a digital ID. And this is heavy right here. All right. So they're going to be mandated to take this digital ID. All right. In order to live, basically, because you need to work and make money to live. And these devils know how to ensnare the inhabitants of the earth, man. Because right now, of course, people are not willing to go and take a digital ID. But they're going to be coerced into doing this. And this is what we've been warning about. They have power over your life. Everything that you have access to, they control it. Whether it may be your food or water, your housing, transportation, everything that you have, they own it. And they're going to use that as leverage to make you come to them. All right. Because they're not going to really come to you, but you're going to come to them to receive the digital ID, which will one day be incorporated within a chip in order for you to somewhat survive. And we see how these devils are moving. That whole migration or immigration issue, along with these other events, cyber attacks, climate change, all these different chaotic events in which they created are going to be used to justify security, safety, and security by the way of a chip. Okay, so we're here. Let's play this video real quick. And if you are the elect, the hopeful elect, should I say, and you believe this testimony, then rejoice, man, because the Lord is fulfilling His word. Dealing with His prophets, and those who hear their words, they're being comforted also. Because at the end of the day, we need these things to come forth so that we can get up out of America, man. I'll be worried if my teacher told me that this is not what it was. All right. But rather the chip was an embargo or sleeping with white women or philosophy, I would be extremely worried right now. Like, damn, well, could Great Millstone be telling the truth? And you got a lot of Israelites that are doing it, they're window shopping and they're seeing these things that we're pulling out. And they're coercing their congregation, their leaders, okay, who said that the mark of the beast can't be a chip. It can be anything but a chip. Or they might throw a microchip in there, but it ain't the mark of the beast. you know? So at the end of the day, the false prophets are going to be found to be liars, and their congregation who chose to follow them after hearing all this rebuke are going to fall along with them. All right. Unless they repent. So let's play this video and then we'll get into the scriptures.
For too many years, it's been too easy for people to come here, slip into the shadow economy and remain here illegally. Because, frankly, we've been squeamish about saying things that are clearly true. It's not just that it's not compassionate left-wing politics to rely on labour that exploits foreign workers and undercuts fair wages, but the simple fact that every nation needs to have control over its borders. We do need to know who is in our country. Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust, undermines people's faith that we're on their side, and their belief that the state can and will work for them. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
So there you have it. And of course, we heard the speech about Trump a while back when he spoke about how we desperately need a biometric entry-exit visa track system, something like that, you know, for these immigrants. So we see the plans of the devil being made manifest, all right? John the Revelator saw these things over 2,000 years ago, and here it is. We're in that time in which he saw being played out. You know, right before our eyes, man. You still got Jakes who are denying this. I don't understand it. You know, hey, but the Lord, he's gonna blind who he's gonna blind, and he's gonna open the eyes in which he wants to open. You know, that's why Titus 1:15 says this. Let's get this real quick. Unto the pure, all things are pure. All right, and this testimony, this word is pure. But unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. So if you don't believe that the mark of the beast is a chip, then you're pretty much defiled. Your mind is defiled, your conscience and all of that. Matter of fact, it goes on to say, but even their mind and conscience is defiled. Kind of jumped the gun there. So that means that you're not pure in spirit. To believe these things that are written, as far as the testimony of Yahushua is concerned, and to have them, you know, play out in real time, shows that the Lord is dealing, all right, with certain individuals in which we all have this one expectation, which is to be saved and delivered, man. But we know that we got to go through these trials and tribulations to get there. You know, through much tribulation shall we enter the kingdom of heaven. So what do we expect? All right, as the Lord said, you know, let's get this real quick. The book of 2 Esdras, verse 4, because a lot of these days are going to find out that all that marching, all that cadence, gimmicks, and all that bullshit didn't mean nothing. It's not going to have any kind of value when the time of temptation hits, man. So this is what you should have been worried about the whole time. Matter of fact, and mainly they're going to be initiated by the devil, Esau, or out of chaos. So 2 Esdras 16:39, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. And the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon them on every side. They're going to crash the system. It's going to be blackouts. It's going to be famines, anarchy, lawlessness. See? So, oh, my people, hear my word and make you ready to thy battle. And then those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. See that? So the point here is to warn you about the wolf that's coming. It's Esau collapsing everything and forcing you, you know, to submit unto his salvation, which is by you taking his chip, that one and all solution, in which this is the beginning stages of it. So in that day, we're going to have what? Faith in order to overcome. All right. So if you don't have faith in Yahweh Shemashah, then how can you, you know, stand in that day? And we pray that we can stand, or going to be able to stand. But for the most part, Jake is going to be lost in the sauce, man, because they dismiss this message. Let's go to the book of Sirach, for Ecclesiastes 29 and 21. The chief thing for life is water. All right. So to live, you need water, bread, clothing, and a house to cover shame. Esau knows this. So what he's going to do is going to use these things that you need as leverage to get you to bow down into his system. So if he can compromise your work and your ability to access these things, then by default, people are going to flock to him. They're going to flock to Esau as a savior and be willing to sell themselves, just like they did with Joseph in Egypt. All right. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. I think it's Genesis 47, if I ain't mistaken. Just bear with me. Yeah, because a famine is coming. So let's get to the point. Right, so we just get to the point right here. Because there was a famine in Egypt, and Joseph stored up, resources during that time. So we'll start at verse 18, Genesis 47:18 NLT. But that year ended, and the next year they came again and said, we cannot hide the truth from you, my Lord. Our money is gone, and all our livestock and cattle are yours. We have nothing left to give but our bodies and our land. So Esau is taking this same approach. All right. They're taking this same approach, and they put themselves up as Joseph, in which, the people, they brought things until they couldn't bring no more but their body. So Esau is going to take away everything from you and have you left with just giving over your body in a form of you taking this man's digital all. All right. 19, it says, why should we die before your very eyes? Buy us and our land in exchange for food. That's why a famine is coming. We offer our land and ourselves as slaves for Pharaoh, who is a modern day Pharaoh. All right. That would be Esau. Just give us grain so we may live and not die. And so the land does not become empty and desolate. Esau is taking the same scenario and using it for himself to ensnare the inhabitants of the earth by causing a man-made famine. All right. Because remember, according to the prophecies, many shall die of famine. 2 Nephi 16 and 22, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of the famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So it's going to be a lot of dead bodies, people not being able to access these resources. They're going to be perplexed, like you read in Luke 21 and 25. All right. So what are they going to do? They're going to offer themselves up freely unto Esau. All right. This man threatening your job is just beginning stages of it. But when there's a famine, how much more the enticement? So Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, not embargoes, not philosophy, it's not sleeping with white women in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. It's a literal mark, charagma in Greek. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, man. Okay. So you're not going to be able to work, buy, or sell unless you have this man's mark. All right. And the ID, the digital ID, is the beginning stages of that mark being mandated. So just like they mandated that, they're going to mandate the actual mark out of all this chaos. So people are going to be willing to go up to Esau and hand themselves over and take this man's chip just to eat. So, we warn you over and over and over again. All right. Because in that day, the Lord said, my servants shall eat, but those who deny this word, they're going to be hungry. They're going to be left out. Okay. To eventually to the point of where they're going to go and submit themselves unto Esau out of necessity. The necessity of having to eat. What is it? Romans, I think 11th chapter. In verse 4, so it says, but what saith the answer of the Most High to him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, a complete number of men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. And I thought about, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in Daniel 3rd chapter, and how they did not bow into the image of, Nebuchadnezzar, and they were tossed into that fiery furnace, but they came out unscathed. So this is the same scenario that's playing out right now. You even got Trump with a big golden statue, a Bitcoin golden statue, reminiscent of Nebuchadnezzar and this golden image. Let me see if I can get that real quick. So the test here is going to be not to bow unto Esau. Yeah, so let's get to the point. Man. We just out of verse 4, Daniel 3 and 4. Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is mandated, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, the dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. And whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast to the midst of a burning fiery furnace. All right. So whoever will not worship it was going to be ultimately killed. And that's what's coming as well, man. All right. Esau's going to oust you from society. And then ultimately there's going to be a decree made to where those who don't want to submit to the system are to be put to death. And that's where you get, Revelation 20th chapter, those who were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and his testimony. So this is the great hour of temptation that you read about in Revelation 3 and 10. All right. When these devils collapse everything, coming down with great wrath, just to get you to take this man's form of salvation. So Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience or suffering, those who are continually in his faith and are trying to do the right thing. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. See, the hour of temptation, a period in which you are being enticed according to your flesh. All right, due to the outward circumstance of not having food and raiment, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. See that? This is the preparation right here that, we should have been preparing for this time right here. But we see that Jake is not really concerned about that, right? Because they really can't see or fall off. Neither do they believe. So what are they going to do? They're going to submit, take Esau's chip, and receive Revelation 14 and 9 and be destroyed, by the chariots and the thermonuclear missiles, man. So that time is coming very soon. Just want to go through that real quick. Very heavy, part of prophecy right here, which lets us know that the mark of the beast is very near. So with that, hey, Lord willing, you're edified. Till next time I say shalom.